Hello, my name is Wayne Craig, and I'm the Medical Support Services Coordinator for Hope Tree Family Services. Today I'd like to talk to you about something called the chain of infection. Now, you might be familiar with this term if you've ever taken biology or life sciences or had any training in the medical or environmental services field. But specifically now we want to talk about it in terms of how it relates to COVID. Two things I want you to keep in mind. Number one, this chain of infection is a process in which all infections occur. So this not only applies to COVID, but it applies to the common cold, the flu, Ebola, or HIV. Anything that can make us sick is involved in this process. The other thing to remember, you've heard the expression, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. To break the process of infection, you don't have to break every link. You only have to break one. If you break any one link in this chain, infection doesn't occur. So let's talk about this chain for just a minute. What are the different parts of it? Well, the first link that we have to deal with is called the pathogen. Now, pathogen is a medical term that just means anything that can make us sick. Anything that can cause an infectious process. Could be a bacteria, could be a virus, yeast, fungus, parasite, anything that causes infection. The second link in this chain is called a reservoir. Now, most of us, when we think of reservoir, we think of a body of water, but it's a fancy French word that just means a supply of something. To become infected, you have to have an agent, and it has to be in sufficient quantity to make you sick. The third link here is called the portal of exit. Now, portal is just a fancy way to say a door, a way to get out. So the infectious agent, there has to be enough of them, and they have to have a way to escape the reservoir. The fourth link is called transmission. Now, when I think of transmission, I think of a car. It gets us from one place to another. You might have a really good motor, but without a transmission, you're not going anywhere. And so that's the fourth link of this chain. The fifth link is called the portal of entry. The virus or the bacteria has to have a way to get in. And then the final link that we have is called a susceptible host. Someone who's able to get sick or become infected. So how does this relate to COVID? And what do we do about it to break this chain? Well, first of all, the pathogen, in this case, we're talking about the SARS-CoV-2. Now, like I said, this could be the cold, the flu, it's all the same, but the pathogen has to be present for you to become infected. If there's no pathogen, then there's no infection. So how do we get rid of that? Well, one of the things that we're supposed to be doing is cleaning and disinfect all the surfaces around you, and especially where people come in contact with. As an example, doorknobs, the refrigerator handle, desktops, countertops, telephones, anything that multiple people have touched. If we disinfect and we eliminate the virus, then there's no chance of becoming infected to it. The problem is with coronavirus, is that a pathogen can't be detected in an environment. You can't see it, you can't taste it, smell it, or hear it. In fact, if you get it, one of the symptoms is you can't smell or taste anyway, but it wouldn't matter. We can't tell if it's there. So by cleaning and disinfecting the area around you, you're breaking this one link of getting rid of the pathogen, and infection will not occur. All right, reservoir. Well, in this case, we're talking about a person who's already infected. Someone who has the pathogen in them, and it's replicating. It's producing more of itself. And now it has a sufficient supply. Well, what do we do about this one? Well, how about this? If you're sick, stay home. Now, this has never changed. It's not new. It's been around forever. If you're sick, stay at home. And by the way, speaking on behalf of the rest of the world, we don't want your cold. We don't want your flu. We don't want your strep throat or bronchitis. So if you're sick, stay home. The problem with coronavirus, though, is that 80% of the infections and the people that get infected will have little or no symptoms. 1 in 4 are not even going to know they have it. And 1 in 2 are going to have very mild symptoms like, well, and that's it. So you can't always be sure if you're carrying the virus or not, or if you're spreading it. But if you do have symptoms, temperature, cough, sore throat, headache, just stay home. Simple. Portal of exit. Those viruses have to get out somewhere. Now, we don't believe that they get out through your skin or your hair or your ears, but we know for sure that they get out of your nose and your mouth. They come out of your mucous membranes. So what do we do about that? Well, they've been telling us for months and months, wear a mask. And by the way, you're not wearing that mask for your benefit. It might help a little bit, we don't know. But you're wearing a mask to protect everyone else around you and those that you love. We're trying to keep the virus contained to you. We know it's coming out. You're shedding viruses. People that are sick, it's pretty obvious. They're coughing, they're sneezing, the viruses are escaping. But even if you're not showing symptoms, the virus can come out when you speak, when you talk, when you sing, when you laugh, or when you cry. So protect everyone when we're in public and when we're out amongst ourselves. Just simply wear a mask. All right, transmission. There's 3 types of transmission, but we know for sure that COVID can be transmitted by 2. Airborne is the 3rd one, but that's reserved for diseases like tuberculosis and measles. We know for a fact that we can transmit COVID by contact and droplet. When those viruses come out of a person's nose or their mouth, oh, by the way, have you ever seen someone sneeze in the sunshine? Wow, what a spray. And most of us aren't even aware of it. So how can we prevent this transmission of this virus? Well, the easiest way is to stay 6 feet apart. Now, we call that social distancing. And I know science is not sure. It might be 3 to 4 feet. It might be 10 to 12. It also depends upon the conditions around you. Is the wind blowing? Are you inside? Are you outside? About the circulation. It has to do with the humidity and the temperature. But we've all agreed that the best advice is to stay at least 6 feet apart. If you're 6 feet away from someone wearing a mask that has coronavirus, the chances of you getting it are slim. They're very, very slim. So we social distance. We stay away from each other. The 5th link is called the portal of entry. Now, those droplets that come out, and they hang around for a little while, but they eventually fall. And they cover the surfaces around a person that is shedding them. So they might be on the floor, but they might also be on the desk, the table. You want to borrow my phone? Probably not a good idea. Contact. We don't know whether contact or droplet is the most common way to transmit it, but we're sure that the 2 are. So the virus has to have a way to get inside of you. Now again, we don't think you're going to get it through your skin or through your ears or through your belly button, but you're going to get it through your nose and mouth. So how is it going to get there? Well, in this one right here, you are your own worst enemy. Studies suggest that the average person will touch their face 20 to 25 times an hour. Now that's roughly once every 3 minutes or more, 400 to 600 times a day. We do it without even thinking about it. So you have to think about not doing it. And if you practice that for a period of time, you'll become more used to not touching your face. And by the way, what they've told us for months again, and it's not new, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Often, frequently, every time you go in public and when you're around places and areas that are common, where many people gather. Hand sanitizer is a good choice too. Do it frequently, do it often, but try to keep your hands clean, and if possible, as much as possible, do not touch face. Finally, the last link here is called susceptible host. You have to be able to be infected. So what can we do about that? Well, first of all, take care of yourself. Try to stay healthy. Eat right. Get plenty of rest. Drink plenty of fluids. Moderate exercise. If you have a medical condition, take care of it. If you're diabetic, monitor your sugar, take your insulin, eat right. If you have high blood pressure, take your medicine, get moderate exercise. Just basically take care of yourself. Our body has an inborn system to be able to fight off infection, but you need to be healthy for that to work. When the time comes, we hope there's a vaccine available. Now, we take vaccines for a number of reasons. Even a baby gets an MMR, which is measles, mumps, and rubella. Most of us take a flu shot, a series of Hep B or a tetanus shot. So when the vaccine becomes available, take it. The other thing that you can do again is take care of yourself. Stay healthy. Treat your conditions. This is also a good time, by the way, if you've been thinking about losing a little weight, getting more exercise, quitting smoking, whatever it takes, keep your body healthy. And that way, you're less likely to become infected. So basically here, this is the chain of infection. This has to do with coronavirus and COVID, and this is how we can fight it. This is the reason that we're doing the things that we're doing, or supposed to be doing. And keep these two things in mind. This chain also applies to the common cold, the flu, and all the other things that make us sick. And secondly, and most important, you do not have to break every link of this chain. You just have to break one. So clean and disinfect the area to get rid of the pathogen. If you're sick, stay home. While we're out in public and around each other, wear a mask. Stay 6 feet apart and don't gather in large gatherings. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, and try not to touch your face. Stay healthy, take care of your body, and get a vaccine when it becomes available. So I want to thank you for this time we've had together, and I would just like to say stay healthy, stay safe, and God bless. Thank you.